Well, and now we have one more episode to finish up this weekend of George Whitfield Stories of Great Christians. I hope you've been enjoying the series so far. Today, we're in chapter 7 of 24, or 22, I'm sorry. So we're about a third of the way almost. And the story gets more interesting every time out. Well, if you're so inclined, leave a comment, and even more so, I hope you're inclined to hit subscribe and join us all the time, because we like having you aboard. So here we go with the story of George Whitfield from courtesy of Moody Bible, chapter 7.
Bad news, George?
No, not really. It's another letter from John Wesley. In every letter, he asks me to join him in the colonies.
Evidently, he doesn't know you're spreading fame on this side of the ocean.
God has given me what fame I have. We shall decide where it shall best be used. These appeals from John and Charles, they're in Georgia. John speaks of terrible disappointment there. Strange.
What's that, George?
Just before he left, John made a singularly odd remark. Might account for his apparent failure there in the colonies. He said, "I'm going to Georgia to save my own soul."
We greet our friends everywhere with Chapter 7 of Apostle of Two Continents, the story of George Whitfield. This is another in the series Stories of Great Christians. It comes to you from the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.
I can't tell you how happy we all were that you could come, Whitfield. When this whole business came up, and I knew I'd need a replacement for a while, I never dreamed that that replacement would be you.
You're very kind, Reverend Fincher.
So welcome to Dummer. I hope you'll find this pasture as rewarding as I have. And you? I'm afraid we haven't quite the stature of the Tower of London, but our flock is genuinely seeking God.
God has made it clear that this call is to be answered.
I'm afraid that in every way it is different from your customary duties. There are very few what you would call educated folk in this part of Hampshire. A far cry from your usual Oxford slang.
Perhaps you could tell me about your parish and the people who worship here with you. No doubt there are many insights which you could give me.
Actually, I have mixed feelings at this point. I know, of course, that you'll need to know these things, and I am more than blinded to the situation. But I don't know how someone like yourself will take to this parish and to its people. Your education, your increasing fame, I simply don't know. But I have asked you to come here.
I'm afraid I don't completely follow your thinking, sir. I have no misgivings about this call.
Let's go outside with you, where we can get a decent view of our little city of Dummer.
All right.
Not a very impressive sight, I suppose, especially for a young man bursting with education and ideas.
I say, maybe you have a bit of an odd opinion of me.
Perhaps that's so, but I was referring to myself just now. I came here years ago ready to, as it said of the early apostles, turn the world upside down. I've been well educated, possessed measureless zeal, and I was called here. The people were poor, dense souls, with no memory, little initiative. I preached, I exhorted. Incidentally, I even starved. I found them much below. I was irked at the prospect of spending any time among them at all, much less acting as their spiritual guide and intercessor.
But surely you don't...
Oh, wretched child we grew up with. I even made occasional visits to their homes. I believe those visits were my undoing.
Sir,
I'm extremely happy in this parish, Whitfield. Extremely happy.
I believe that was the case, Reverend Preacher.
Our job is so much more than to preach, to exhort. We must know and love. These are people, Whitfield. Fellow strugglers, you might call them. In their own way, they meet and do battle with the very same forces against which we fight. Spend much time down there with them. Life is common experience, and each of us has something he can give to another.
I shall do that, sir. I'm sure there's much to learn here, as well as much to do.
Look, here comes the boy preacher. Yeah, look at the young cock. He's hiding right behind the ears.
Come to see me?
To see your mother, actually. Is she in?
Bound to be. She never goes nowhere. Mind if I listen?
Not at all.
Go right in. You don't need to knock.
Thank you. Mrs. Grady, are you there?
You kids blow a whistle. I've got me a gentleman caller.
And Charles mentioned that he didn't know your brother.
Oh, that's too bad. It was a nice gesture of the government to send my brother and those other debtors over there to settle. Lots nicer than some old prison, I can tell you.
How did you ever get to be a preacher, even though you're so young?
I'm afraid that's a long story.
I've got time.
Arden, now, please. I'm sure the young preacher doesn't want to go into all that. I want to hear more about the colonies, my own brother being there north.
You know just about all there is to know, Mrs. Grady. General James Oglethorpe, a member of Parliament, has been instrumental in seeing to the colonization of Georgia, where your brother is.
You use such pretty long words. I like the way you talk. Lots.
You ought to listen to what he says in church on Sunday, my young girl. You wouldn't have half the trouble with you if you did that.
You must be awfully busy working around here. Probably no time to yourself at all, eh?
No, quite the contrary. Actually, I find that as I spend time alone and with God, the amount that I can accomplish among the parishioners is quite phenomenal.
Do you spend much time alone?
I've tried to work out a sort of schedule. It's helped immensely.
You see, Arden, he doesn't go about stretching away the time like you youngsters.
How is your time used up? I mean, when do you do what you do?
I'm afraid it wouldn't interest you.
Oh, I'm very interested in the way you divide up your time.
Well, I allow 8 hours for sleep and food, another 8 for parish work, and another 8 for study and recreation.
If you ever, a day like that puts even me to shame, it does.
What kind of recreation?
Oh, there are so
I
many.
know.
There are helpful and instructive books and pamphlets on the Christian experience. There are walks and sights to behold. You know the words of the psalmist. Thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore.
You know, Reverend, for someone as young as you are, you act awfully old.
told him you were expected back here in Oxford today, so he stayed. He's been wandering all over the commons. Sort of nostalgia, I suppose.
I can hardly wait to see him. I had no idea he was back in England.
He's right in there, George. I told him you'd arrived.
Charles? Oh, Charles Wesley. How good to see you again.
How good for me. Look at you. You've matured. That cassock. I'm impressed.
You? It seems impossible. Time has gone so fast. You look older. How's the work going in the colonies? I can pray for you both days.
Let's talk of you, George. From what I hear, you are a far cry from the confused lad who joined the Holy Club. If my information's correct, you've just returned from a parish in Hampshire and been offered your own parish, a handsome wage, I that, in London. What did you say to that?
I hardly know what to answer at first. All that you say is true, but it's not the whole of the story. There's more. It's the very core of it, all time. The element that facts cannot state. God has certainly blessed me. It's only too obvious. But his greatest blessing has been to save my soul, to live in my life.
This is a different Whitfield. The emphasis.
God has given the emphasis. As the apostle says, not I, but Christ.
Are you going to accept the London parish offer, George? I must know. It's more than idle curiosity.
I've decided against it, Charles. In the past, God has always given me a pull in his direction. I feel no such pull to London.
And what about our letters to you regarding the colonies, regarding Georgia?
What a struggle you and John have set up with me. Other than your encouragement, I have no official call to Georgia, but I feel strongly pulled in that direction. Then there's the consideration that there are certainly laborers needed here in England.
I can, in a measure, appreciate your struggles. I have a letter for you, George. It's from my brother John. I want you to read it and consider what he has to say very carefully.
Do you ask me what you shall have? Food to eat, raiment to put on, a house to lay your head in, such as our Lord had not, and a crown of glory that fadeth not away? Only Mr. de Lamont is with me, till God shall stir up the hearts of some of his servants, who, putting their lives in his hands, shall come over and help us, where the harvest is so great, and the laborers so few. What if thou art the man, Mr. Whitfield? Oh, I'm sorry to have interrupted you, Charles.
That's all right, George. I was just reading.
Joe? Chapter 3 at that. You must be feeling very low in spirit.
Yeah, it's this business in the colonies, George. I sometimes wonder why I bother trying to encourage you to go. It all seems so fruitless at times.
It's the work there that I came to see you about. John's letter was very direct, and moved me very much. What can you tell me about Georgia?
Well, the people are crude, undisciplined, living conditions are far below anything you know here. There's a constant fear because of savage Indians in the area. The colony is ripe for missionary effort. You'd think the people would be eager to worship God. But such is far from the case. They avoid church as best they can. They make a mockery of the prayer book. God knows we've tried everything we know how to do, but the work has been fruitless. Absolutely fruitless.
Have you allowed God to work in the colony? Charles, I've learned a truth in my very limited ministry that has changed my whole concept of things. It's this: God does his own work. When we finally committed our lives to Christ, and when I committed mine to him, claimed personal righteousness before God on the basis of his sacrificial death, from that moment, Charles, God has been doing his own work. He can capture the hearts of those poor blind colonists. He can give them a passion for himself.
I'm sure that you are the man for Georgia.
We need this new positiveness of yours. What do you say, George? Will you come to Georgia?
And so we conclude Chapter 7 of Apostle of Two Continents, the story of George Whitefield. This is another in the series Stories of Great Christians and comes to you from the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.
Well, now that's a calling. Here he was in England one day and now being called to the colonies. And to be in the company of John and Charles Wesley? Well, it's taken this guy a long, long way. Well, as we go toward evening, 7 p.m., we're at 99 degrees here in Phoenix. And we look forward to seeing you again the very next time, Lord willing. And until then, I hope you're enjoying these stories, and tune in next week for Chapter 8 of George Whitefield. And until then, the Lord keeping me around and the Lord keeping you around. God bless, and thanks for listening. See you next time.